Do you know that the same-sex marriage used to be an Igbo culture? Yes, you heard me very correctly. But just follow me on this particular episode. I will explain. I want you to watch this video to the end. The ending part will be very interesting. Now, in the olden days, a woman could actually marry a woman in Igbo culture. Real. You can do your research and this is the truth. But it's not the same way as the current same-sex marriage is practiced. That is just the different. But a woman could actually marry a woman. Now, that will take me to something about how adoption happens in Igbo culture. Let me explain. And let me talk about how, because I will lay the groundwork for it. Now, in Igbo culture, if a man actually have like children and he decides to adopt a child. Now, in Igbo culture, it's believed that you adopt through your bloodline. Because in Igbo culture, the bloodline is valued so much. And that's why in the olden days when people want to get married, and then the investigation is done about the female you are getting married to. And the female also tries to investigate about the male that is approaching their daughter. And the questions are always like the bloodline. You understand? They talk about whether the person steals, whether there's a kind of incurable diseases along that line, whether there are kind of threats in that family that they say people here are not rich. Those are the kind of things they consider those times. They are very, very serious about it. In the sense that if you are a notorious criminal, you may not be able to marry within a community where you are known very well. You have to go outside where they can't actually carry out investigation. But some still try to investigate even when the distance is very, very far. You understand? So when like two brothers now, maybe brother A, Chukwudi, the other one Obinna, and possibly Chukwudi is the eldest person and Obinna is the younger person. Now, let's assume Obinna did not give birth to a child, and Obinna has property everywhere, and Obinna can decide to adopt one of Chukwudi's son as his son, but he must be within his relative. That is what is done in Igbo culture. Now, let me get back to my story about same-sex marriage. Now, the Igbo culture is patriarchal in nature, so it talks about male a lot, and it's male-dominated culture. That does not mean there are no female roles there. You understand? So in Igbo culture, a man, the male child is cherished so much. Also the female child, but they assume that the women get married and they become part of their husband's house. So the people that continue with the lineage are mostly the male, and therefore they try very well to get male children. So in the case that a man gives birth to like only female, and now the man envisions that all the females who end up marrying outside, like getting married to their husband and then becoming part of their husband's place, and then who takes care of his own house when he dies. That's what brings up the issue of that kind of thing. And now imagine in that situation where a man gives birth to like 3 daughters and maybe dies before he gets old or tries to marry another wife to give birth to a male child. Now, in the former Igbo culture, those women can actually marry for their father. But look at what happens. When one of the girls gets married to a young lady, these things are explained to the lady, and then it was a common practice and they understood it. So when the girl comes into the family, now it's mostly one of the relatives that end up impregnating that they are married, the girl that was married. But that girl actually be married by a fellow female into the compound, into the family, and then one of their relatives keep impregnating the girl, and then maybe at the end of the day give it to 3 or 4 children. And that children belongs to actually the girl who got married to her also. So you see, like there is a same-sex marriage kind of thing, and then those people can go back to their husband's house, and then those male child who are products of that marriage and becomes uh, part of the family. Maybe they start bearing the man's name, the man who is long dead's name, and then that's how they inherit the property of the man and continue living in that place. Now, but the thing is, when the girl gets married to that fellow girl, that's where it stops. There is no sexual intercourse between the both of them. No. In Igbo culture, a man and a man sleeping together, a woman and same sex kind of a relationship is abomination. It's prohibited in Igbo culture. Now, in the sense, like a woman can marry a woman, but the the sexual relationship is not part of it. It's the cultural aspect of who actually got married to this girl is mostly the woman, and then you are brought into the family to protect the lineage, to make sure that the lineage continues. And that's why it's done. But there's nothing like sexual intercourse between both of them. And but things are evolving now. It's now done. Some people still do it, but it's not done very secretly. Especially when the man has problem, maybe in the reproductive system or that, they cannot actually give birth. What they normally do this day around is to get somebody who is close to the family to perform the duty, and then it becomes kind of lifelong family secret. Mostly his brother. But that's what they do now. It's no more an open practice these days where somebody openly gets married. But in olden days, it was a very common practice in Igbo land.